Is that the greatest UFC event ever, boys? I call it recency bias, call it whatever you want. I have lost my voice from screaming at the TV over this legendary card in which I will tell my children about. I will never forget about this card, dude. This is one of the greatest cards I've ever watched live. So many banger fights. We had knockout of the year, we had fight of the year, we had so much bangers. And I'm gonna be talking about today. If you guys enjoyed UFC 317, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment, make sure to like, and yeah, let's talk about this card. So opening up let's just talk about the featured fight of the prelim, dude. We had Gregory Rodriguez chinning Jack Hermansson. Gregory Rodriguez absolutely folded Jack Hermansson, which begs the question: how bad is Joe Pyfer, and how good is Jared Cannonier, dude? Jared Cannonier embarrassed Gregory Rodriguez, and Gregory Rodriguez folded Jack Hermansson, dude. What an insane knockout that was, dude. And he put a nuke. Obama nuked Jack Hermansson to devastating overhands. It's similar to what we saw a little bit later in the night, but those overhands were so unnecessary, and I apologize for not having pictures. I'm just trying to make a quick video because I want to talk about this, dude. I want to get the feeling off my chest while it's still fresh, and I want to post this video soon. So obviously we had that. A couple other things on the prelim were Terrence McKinney getting a round 1 submission 55 seconds in. We had Tracy Cortez getting back in the win column. We had Jose Delgado picking up a win over Hyder Almil as the underdog, and we had Butterbean taking on Janata Denise in the first fight of the night. And overall, let's talk about the main card now. Overall, this main card was generational. That's the best way to put it. This main card was generational. This is on par with UFC 300. To open up the fight, we had a very technical and strategic fight between Peyton Talbot and Felipe Lima. Both of these guys are so good, so technical. I predicted Peyton Talbot to get it done. I think a lot of people forgot who Peyton Talbot was, and I was right, dude. Peyton Talbot went out there. He showed improvement in his wrestling defense. He showed improvements in his wrestling. Obviously, Felipe Lima was able to take this guy down a couple more times than we really wanted. But still, dude, Felipe Lima, he's good. He's still a top prospect, and I think in some cases, it is okay to match prospects against prospects because both of the guys went out there and looked really good, dude. We were able to see some great striking improvements from Felipe Lima. His striking looked good. He was piecing up Peyton Talbot in some instances. And this is a really fun fight, dude. Really good fight. The next fight we have is Money Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. My prediction for this fight was Beneil Dariush. I think he was just going to be able to get it done. He was going to be the better fighter throughout the fight, and that's exactly what happened. Money Moicano, I think he just lost a lot of momentum after that Islam Makhachev loss. You know, he can't hang with the top guys. It's proven. He took a loss to number 9 ranked, I believe, and he's just not as good as we thought he was. You know, he kind of gassed out after that second round. He had a pretty slow first round. You know, he got a knockdown, which arguably won him the round, but other than that, he just did not show up in this fight. This fight did pretty much kill the momentum we had. You know, we were coming off a couple of pretty good fights, especially to open up the main card, dude. The hype was high, and this fight was just slow. It was sluggish. It was just two old men who were clearly out of their prime just going at it, and it was a decently good fight in some instances, but overall it was a pretty boring fight. And let's talk about the next fight, Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. Yeah, put your seatbelt on, kid, because I'm gonna be talking about this for the remainder of the video pretty much. Dude, what a fight. Genuinely, this is Budget Gagey versus Holloway. This is the greatest fight I have ever seen. Don't give me, I don't want some old head commenting down below, bro, Rory McDonald versus Eddie Alvarez too, that was a war. This fight is better. This fight had skill in it. You know, both of these guys came out there to kill each other. Brandon Royval, the #1 contender, did not back down. Not once in this fight was this guy on the back foot. Meanwhile, Joshua Van took this fight on 3 weeks' notice when he had fought a day before that. He took this fight with a broken toe against the #1 contender and went out there and showed that he truly is one of the best fighters in the world. Joshua Van is so good. He's so technical. He's so precise. And I'll say it again, Joshua Van is future champion material. I doubted him. I said it was too soon in his career. I said Brandon Royval had the experience. I said Brandon Royval had championship experience. Brandon Royval is a very good flyweight that people don't talk about enough. And I was wrong. I hate to be wrong. Joshua Van, you are a legend. Joshua Van, you are insane. To that fight over, like, it was #1 for significant strikes thrown in a flyweight bout. It had like over Like, both of these guys threw like 180 strikes the whole fight. These guys were just non-stop. The pace in this fight will never be replicated. No UFC fight will ever have the same pace this one did. Both of these guys, for 15 minutes straight, just threw everything they had into every single punch. And in the final 10 seconds, we had Joshua Van throw like a kind of right hook. It knocked Royval down. He was going in for the finish. Obviously, he did not get the finish, but it shows how good Royval was, dude. Royval is that guy. And honestly, after the first round, I'd say Joshua Van won that first round. The second round, Royval took it. You know, the direction was kind of swaying Royval's way. And I was just thinking, okay, dude, Brandon Royval probably won this fight. Joshua Van, you won a round off the number one contender. You're a legend, dude. Have the third round off, dude. You took a round off the number one contender. That in itself is good enough as the number 12th guy on 3 weeks notice. Want to know what this guy did in that third round? He dropped Brandon Royval in the final 10 seconds. He was piecing up his leg. Oh my gosh, I will never forget this fight. I will tell my kids about this fight. The greatest fight I've ever seen. And maybe this fight deserves its entire own video. That is the greatest fight I've ever seen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't give me anything else. I don't want old heads commenting anything down below. Generational fight there. No, let's move on to the co-main event. Let's talk about that fight. Alessandre, the Cannibal Pantoja, taking on Kai Kara-France, and Alessandre Pantoja just swept the rug over. Kai Kara-France looked like a bum. He did not look like he deserved to be out there. I made a video talking about it. I said, come back to this video after Pantoja humiliates Kai Kara-France, and that's exactly what we've seen. We just seen Pantoja go out there, dog walk Kai Kara-France for 2 rounds, and in that third round, he just admitted Kai Kara-France, and arguably Kai Asakura did better against Pantoja. You know, I know it ended quicker in that Kai Asakura fight, but Kai Asakura at least had some moments. You know, he had a nice knee to Pantoja. He was kind of doing some good in the striking a little bit until obviously Kai Asakura got taken down. Kai Kara-France was never like looking good this entire fight. The entire fight he looked slow. He looked really bad. You know, his striking wasn't there. Pantoja is too good, breaking the 35 and over cursed yet again. You know, him and Volker up there. And I'm just starting to see a trend with really dominant champions in divisions now. We have Marab, who's going to be a champion there for a while. We have this guy, Alessandre Pantoja, 4 title defenses now, about to pass Mighty Mouse. We have guys like Islam who are about to take the welterweight strap. We have guys like Tom Aspinall who are going to rule that division for the next 10 years. And obviously we had the lightweight division, guys like Ilie Topuria, in which we will talk about next, boys. Let's get a moment of silence for Charles Oliveira. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm not the type of guy to cringe at UFC knockouts. I've never been that type of guy. I've always been the type of guy who can see someone get chinned brutally, who can see someone's face get busted open. But there was something different about this knockout. There was something really different about this knockout. Charles Oliveira has never been chinned horribly. You know, he's been knocked down by Poirier. He's been knocked down by Gaethje. He's been knocked down by Chandler. None of those guys were able to put his lights out like Ilie Topuria. How good is Ilie Topuria? This fight, I was shaking going into this fight. This fight is a generational fight. Charles Oliveira was flatlined brutally in the first round. Ilie Topuria did exactly what he said he would. Charles Oliveira, buddy, your eyes rolled back. Those 2 hammer fist extra by Ilie Topuria. My heart was hurting for you. I'm not even a Charles Oliveira fan. I said this would happen in my video. I said that Ilie Topuria would slime out Charles Oliveira. I was ready for it, dude. The whole night I was saying, oh, a couple more fights until Charles Oliveira gets slimed out. But this still just took me by surprise, you know? I thought maybe we'd see a standing TKO finish. I thought we'd see a volume finish. You know, I didn't think it was going to be as bad as Volk. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as Holloway. It was worse. It was worse than both of them. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, man. Ilie Topuria is really that good. Islam Makhachev was right for ducking this man. I would like move countries. I'd quit the UFC. I'd retire. I'd pull a John Jones if this man was moving up to my weight division. I am terrified of Ilie Topuria. Charles Oliveira, dude, you're a legend. Your time's up though. And I think it's time that we start talking about how Ilie Topuria should be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. That's a topic for another video. Maybe I'll make its entire video dedicated to that. But what a card, generational card. Ilie Topuria is the lightweight champion of the world. And this is big, the 10th double champ in UFC history. Charles Oliveira didn't stay after to interview the fans. He's a quitter, boys, and I know I'm going to get hate comments for that. Oh my gosh, what a card, what a night, and what a video by the MMA Outpost.